Sometimes in my videos, completely by accident, I'll share an opinion and only later realize it was a controversial one. Like saying I thought a bad movie was bad, or that I like to put mustard on my popcorn. However, for today's video, I am not stumbling blindly into controversy. Like Scrooge McDuck before me, I am purposely diving headfirst into it. Today, I will be sharing my 10 horror movie hot takes, controversial opinions that most will not agree with, and that some will even get angry at, but that I 100% believe in and stand behind. Before I start, if you disagree with any of these opinions, please remember to leave a very angry and very hurtful comment below. As well, please subscribe to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick, so I can continue to anger you with my opinions in the future. Starting off my list with probably my most tame opinion of the bunch, I don't think the original Friday the 13th movie is in the top 3 of the series. The original deserves a lot of credit for starting the franchise and kickstarting the slasher genre as a whole, but Part 2, Part 4, Part 6, and even Part 3 are better Friday the 13th movies. They have better kills, they have better characters, they're more enjoyable to watch, and most importantly, they actually feature Jason in them, hacking, whacking, and slashing camp counselors to bits and pieces. In a similar vein, my second opinion is I don't think Dream Warriors is the second best Nightmare on Elm Street movie. That title belongs to New Nightmare. New Nightmare is a super creative horror movie and was far ahead of its time, predating other meta horror movies like Leslie Vernon, Tucker and Dale, Cabin in the Woods, and even Scream. It was the best possible way to cap off the series, and we got to see Wes Craven, Robert Englund, and Heather Langenkamp together one last time. Now don't get me wrong, I really do love Dream Warriors, but New Nightmare deserves the silver medal for the franchise. The third opinion on my list is that Wes Craven is the greatest horror director of all time. This opinion is only really controversial depending on who you personally think should be number one. Some think Romero, some think Cronenberg or Argento. From what I've seen online, the most popular choice is John Carpenter. Both Craven and Carpenter are legends. It's silly really to even compare the two. But if you put a gun to my head and made me pick my number one, I'm picking Wes Craven. The Scream series, The Hills Have Eyes, People Under the Stairs, Red Eye, Serpent and the Rainbow, Last House on the Left, and the Nightmare on Elm Street series is such an impressive filmography, and in my opinion, outweighs any other horror director's body of work. Another controversial horror director opinion I have is about Robert Eggers. And that is, I think The Lighthouse, Not the Witch, is Robert Eggers' best movie. I love both, but I love The Lighthouse slightly more. It's claustrophobic, it's weird as hell. William Dafoe gives one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. The location is stunning. So many different images from it are burnt into my brain, and the amazing ending puts it over the top and just nudges it past The Witch as Eggers' best movie. The fifth horror hot take I have is that Happy Death Day is extremely overrated. I won't go as far as to say the first movie is bad. I would definitely say that about Happy Death Day to you. Fuck that movie. But number one is just a fine horror comedy. It's fairly fun, it's pretty original, and Jessica Rothe is great as the lead character Tree. But I just have never understood the hype surrounding it. So many online lists tout this as one of the best horror movies of the decade, and one of the best horror comedies ever. Happy Death Day does have a good premise, but the execution of that premise is really lackluster. The writing and dialogue is bad, the kills are weak, the logic of the time loop does not make any sense. The movie takes itself way too seriously for how dumb it is. It is not funny or clever enough to be a great comedy. It's certainly not scary enough to be a great horror movie. I genuinely have never understood why Happy Death Day has so much high praise. Jumping from overrated to underrated, I don't want to talk about a movie, but rather an entire subgenre. I think the found footage genre is underrated. Found footage has been unfairly labeled as lazy and derivative. Yes, there were a lot of bad found footage movies from 2005 to 2015, when studios took scripts they already owned and forced found footage into them to cash in on the success of the Paranormal Activity movies. A lot of these movies sucked, and as a result, people made the association that all found footage movies also sucked. But you shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are just so many great found footage movies, like the Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity, The Den, Creep, As Above, So Below, Wreck, Willow Creek, Cloverfield, Poughkeepsie Tapes, Digging Up the Marrow, They're Watching, Leslie Vernon, Grave Encounters, VHS, The Tunnel, The Taking of Deborah Logan, and Lake Mungo. If done right, found footage can be extremely creative, and the presentation style can be way more immersive than traditionally filmed horror movies. My 7th hot take is that I think the first Final Destination movie is terrible. I think all the other sequels are pretty bad too, except for number 5, but number 1 is by far the worst Final Destination movie. It is just so goddamn drawn out and boring. The later sequels at least lean into the stupidity of the premise and include more entertaining death scenes to fill the runtimes, but not number 1. Number 1 is a total chore to watch. I recently did a marathon of all 5 movies and ended up just fast forwarding through the first one. There are at most 10 interesting minutes in that 90-minute movie. I fucking hate Final Destination. My next hot take is that I actually like the Blair Witch Project sequels for what they are. Book of Shadows especially gets too much hate online. It currently has a 14% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and that is just too low. Yes, it is very different from the original, but I appreciate the attempt to be different and not just redo the same story. Book of Shadows is also full of extremely cool, small blink-and-you-miss-it details that add a ton to this movie upon rewatches. Good Bad Flicks has a great video breaking down this overly hated sequel that I'd highly recommend checking out. And as for the 2016 Blair Witch, it is just a fun horror movie. There are a lot of good scares, it has a good pace to it, and the ending at the house is a roller coaster ride of terror. I don't think either movie is outstanding, but I do think both sequels get too much hate due to being compared to the original. On their own, both are completely fine horror movies. My second to last opinion is that Annabelle Comes Home is the 4th best movie in the Conjuring universe, only behind The Conjuring, The Conjuring 2, and Annabelle Creation. Unless they're big fans of The Nun, I think the only movie people would argue deserves the number 4 spot is The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. I spent a whole other video talking about why I didn't like that specific movie. In short, the story is thin, the villain is underdeveloped, there are no likable characters, it lacks memorable scares, it has no heart, and the whole premise of that movie is exploitative and gross. Meanwhile, Annabelle Comes Home has good characters, fun scares, better dialogue, better demons, more heart, and is overall way more enjoyable to watch. Annabelle Comes Home is firmly number 4 in the Conjuring franchise. And now, the last and definitely most controversial horror movie hot take yet, and that is, I don't think the original Evil Dead is the best Evil Dead movie. I don't think Evil Dead 2 is the best Evil Dead movie. I don't even think Army of Darkness is the best Evil Dead movie. The best Evil Dead movie in the series is Evil Dead 2013.
Oh my god! He admitted it!
I know this opinion will be super controversial. Just by saying that out loud, I should probably get my horror channel license revoked. The first Evil Dead deserves an immense amount of credit for starting the series and being hugely influential on the horror genre and for horror filmmakers. But I just can't lie, I like Evil Dead 2013 the most out of the 4 movies. The hyper-realistic style of the 2013 version is so fucking brutal. Every single scene is a standout. If you took the 17th best scene in this Evil Dead movie and put it in any other horror movie, it would instantly become that movie's new best scene. I mean, the opening chase, the fire scene, the shower scene, the bathroom scene, the car crash, the tree scene, the nail gun, The shed, the burial, the basement, the turkey cutter, the fucking scene at the end where the sky literally opens up and it rains blood. This is the most metal horror movie I've ever seen. I've literally seen it 20 plus times since it came out only a few years ago. I watch it 3 to 4 times every single year. In my eyes, Evil Dead 2013 is not just the best Evil Dead movie, but it is my favorite horror movie of all time. Alright, those are my 10 horror movie hot takes. I feel like I don't even need to prompt you at this point, but if you disagree with any opinion I shared, please leave a comment with a rebuttal. I made this video to start a debate, and I'd love to talk down below. Also, I would love to hear your own controversial opinions. Any opinion you've been too scared to share until now, please try to make me irrationally angry with any horror movie hot take you can come up with. If you liked or disliked this video, please subscribe to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick. I post new horror rants, reviews, commentaries, and deep dives on Fridays. As well on Mondays, I post quick 2-minute recommendations for horror movies available to watch on Shudder, Netflix, and Amazon Prime. I will be continuing to post more horror content throughout the Halloween season, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next week when I'll be sharing the scariest horror movies you can watch this Halloween.